Hello everyone, happy Friday. This is Kenlyn and today is Friday, July 13th. Yeah, I am launching something new today and I want to share a little bit about that. It's the launch of 50 on Fridays. And today's a great day to do that. It's a new moon last night and an eclipse last night. What did you do to initiate that new moon? Hello, welcome. So I wanted to talk about 50 on Fridays as part of this new moon launch. It's a totally auspicious time, especially when we have an eclipse that amplifies the energy. And I'm feeling like midlife deserves some attention. We have not been a part of the cultural conversation until about now. And I believe it's because midlife people are ready to serve. You know, by the time we've hit midlife, we are getting out of the mating game. God love the mating game. It's what got us all here. But there's a whole new context waiting for us as we cross that threshold from our 40s into our 50s. And welcome everyone. Hi Katrina. Hi David. It's not exactly that it's a magical number, 50s. I just take it as a context because I'm noticing things inside myself that have shifted. And I created this context called the mating game, where prior to that, our DNA, whether we wanted to have children consciously or not, is focused on procreation. We'll do anything in those early years to have children, and we don't think rationally about it oftentimes. But by the time we get to this threshold crossing of 50, something changes inside of our psyche. And Carl Jung said that we enter this afternoon of life. And the afternoon of life has totally different rules than the morning of life. And I'm finding that to be totally true. And without that context, I might have resisted that and fought against it and thought that something was wrong, or compared myself by the morning and then came up short and said, you know, I must be failing. Not only do I not measure up to the morning, but I don't have it in me to do the morning of life anymore. And I'm certainly not old. So then what the hell is it? It's in this middle zone, which for women is the archetype of the queen. For men, we could say the archetype of the king. Really stepping into your mastery, your sovereignty, and your power. Personal power, which for me is the ability to affect positive change. Like, you are cause in the matter of your own life, and you can also be cause in the matter of the things that you're willing to take a stand on. That's super exciting for me. And in fact, I feel my experience of midlife has been that I feel more myself now than I have ever felt. So this launch of 50 on Friday is really homage to that special place in our lives that has historically not gotten any attention. And let's start to create a collective conversation. I don't think I have all the answers, and certainly don't ever want that responsibility. I believe more that what's coming through for our evolution now is to support each other by living our truths, and then you see me living my truth, and that makes you, something in you awakens to want to live more of yours. I see you living your truth, and then something awakens in me to live more of mine. And we're just like pack animals. You know, we learn in pack, we learn in tribe, and we learn on a cellular level that way. It doesn't even have to go through the mental mind. We just start doing it. I've witnessed that as I've held Soul Sister circles. And I've just seen how when one woman really shows up for herself, it causes a transformation on behalf of all of us. So I'm sure that applies to men too. But my experience has been with women. So I'm hoping that this initiation of 50 on Friday will start a cultural conversation, and I invite you to tune in every Friday at noon. And then the other invitation I have for you is to share below in the comments what are some of the topics that you're interested in. I have done some surveys with women, and I have heard that some of the topics are like around our bodies, around our hormones, around stress and overwhelm. And all of that deserves time to chat about, because I think with support, we can figure it out. We can each individually navigate our way, which then improves and expands collective possibilities. So I think in a lot of ways, our personal journey is the collective journey. They're symbiotic. My why for doing this is that I feel like I do better in tribe. I do better in the conversation. I'm constantly creating new context for myself, or else I get spiraling downward in my thinking. But if I create a powerful context and others hold me to that, and then I feel the nurturing and the joy of the community, then I feel like I flourish. So I want that for other people. Recently I was talking to a woman who shared with me that she actually doesn't know what it is to feel empowered. And I was really surprised at that, because this person looks so empowered to me. Like, I bow down to her. She feels empowered to me. She looks empowered to me. And yet her story about herself is that she's not empowered. And I thought, like, how can that be? But she lives inside of her own self. So I want to support people like that to find their way through to their own empowerment, so that they can shine and show up in this world that really needs more kings and more queens. Those of us who own our sovereignty, who own our truth, and who are clear with our boundaries, because I don't know that service anymore from a place of diminishing ourselves is actually a good thing, even for the collective. And so many people have said to me that they know what it's like to serve and support other people, but they don't know what it's like to put themselves first. Yeah, so this era of the queen and the king is requiring that we put ourselves first. And that may sound selfish, but there's a way to do it when it's absolutely your responsibility. It's the thing you know you have to do in order to be that contribution that you want to be. So I think those are the kinds of topics I'm imagining that are on my menu that I want to talk about. I want to talk about reinvention, about the ways in which the old structures, not just the outer structures that we can see like banking and education, government, the things right now that are completely falling apart, but the structures inside of ourselves that are falling apart, codependent patterns, or the structure of nurturing and supporting others and not knowing how to nurture and support ourselves first. That's going by the wayside. So a lot of times that's happening through events that cause a reinvention. And I mean, I've been through like 7 or 8 relationships and like 6 or 7 careers. So I feel like I'm no stranger to having to reinvent. My astrologer says my sun sign is in the house of death and rebirth. So it's just like I'm a skin shedder. So I feel like I have something to contribute to that conversation around skin shedding and what it requires for us internally to experience the loss of things and then the opening to what wants to happen. So a lot of that's happening to us right now. We are having to reinvent ourselves, and I feel like this could be a space to have that conversation of reinvention. So if you're just new tuning in, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, Tanya. We're talking about reinvention and 50 on Fridays, so a conversation among all of us that really gets to the heart of midlife, the heart of what we get to do now that we've crossed this threshold into our sovereign self, our king, our queen. And I think women also, particularly women, learn in community. So I know I've benefited so greatly from women in community that I want to invite us to have this virtual community and talk about the topics that we care about. Sometimes I'll be interviewing people. So if you feel like you have something to share, note that also in the comment section. Or if you have others that you think have something to share to a larger population, also note that. Because it would be great to just keep curating our conversation so that we can really support ourselves as we enter this wildly new territory of midlife in 2018, 2019, 2020. It is epic. And I think that we incarnated in the 60s, and soon to be early 70s, we incarnated in this time period so that we could be mature people at this time. That's really freaking exciting. I don't think navigating for me, it took all of the experience that I had up to this point to be who I am, to be ready for what the world needs and has to offer. So thinking about it in that context too is a helpful way to step fully in to what's being asked of you, particularly in this time of amazing astrology, amazing new moon, amazing eclipses, all these pressure cooker times that will deliver us to becoming who it is we want to become. That is so exciting to me. I've learned to look at obstacles and difficulty and challenge in a way of like total refinement, just like a diamond gets refined in that pressure cooker, right? It takes like heat and pressure to make a diamond. And I feel similarly that that's what's happening to me. I didn't feel that way in my 30s and 40s at all, but I do now. So thanks for joining me. I am excited to stay on this path every Friday at noon, no matter where I'm at. I'll just check in with you and we'll do a little dive on some topic around midlife. So I really appreciate you and thanks for your love and support. And today, let's use the new moon energy to create something and initiate something that you care about. All right, lots of love.